We're off and running in the 2021 Texas high school football season with a huge slate of Week 2 games. These are the picks. Welcome into the Picks, your guide to Texas high school football weekend. My name is Greg Tepper of Dave Campbell's Texas Football and TexasFootball.com. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have you caught your breath? We had a huge week of action across the Texas high school football landscape in Week 1, and isn't it just good to be back? Just good to be back watching high school football in Texas. It's just the best. Well, you don't have much time to recover because this is an outrageous week of Texas high school football action from everywhere, every region across the state. We're going to have them all covered here in this video, but we start in Austin. 7:30 p.m. Friday night at Chaparral Stadium in Austin. It is a giant state-ranked 6A clash as the Euless Trinity Trojans visit the Austin Westlake Chaparrals. What are the keys to this matchup? Key number 1, these two teams are going to take tire irons to one another for 48 minutes for our enjoyment, and it's going to be awesome. I can't wait. So this game's going to be physical. These two teams are going to get after it in the trenches, and I'm especially interested in what happens when the outstanding offensive line for Westlake, led by Connor Robertson and Bray Lynch, take on this incredible defensive line for Euless Trinity, led by Ola Fakailotonga. This is going to be a fantastic matchup where these two teams are just going at it. I mean, if you like physical, hard-hitting, smash-mouth football, this is the game for you. Don't pay attention to the Clemson quarterback. Don't pay attention to the outstanding running game for Trinity. Pay attention to what's going on up front. It's going to be fantastic. So, when these two teams get into a total fist fight, who wins out? Key number 2, alley-oop. Let's talk about the outstanding playmaker for Euless Trinity, Ollie Gordon, who, of course, is legend around Euless for what he did in the incredible game against Allen last year. And if you were thinking, oh, hey, cool, fantastic, the running back's back, you're right, kinda. They've moved him to quarterback this year for a very specific reason, and that is they want to get both him and super junior running back Gary Maddox on the field at the same time, and the early returns are very, very good. These two had a fantastic Week 1 opener, and they figured to be on their game again. He can also throw the ball a little bit. He showed off his arm there as well, so he's not just a runner. This is a big test early for this revamped Austin Westlake defense. How do they handle this challenge? So, how much of an impact does Ollie Gordon have on this game? And key number 3, Chaps on the ground. Remember, a chaparral is actually a road runner, so meet. Let's talk a little bit about the Westlake running attack. For all we talk about the passing attack for Todd Dodge's team, and for understandable reasons. Their quarterback, Cade Klubnik's going to Clemson, and Jaden Greathouse is an outstanding wide receiver among a bevy of outstanding wide receivers there at Westlake. I actually think this running game might be the real secret strength of this Westlake attack. Hunter Hinault, their running back, is spectacular, and of course, Klubnik himself can run. This is a big challenge for this Trinity defense that is going to need to find a way to make them a little bit more one-dimensional. So, just how well can Westlake run the ball in this one? Who am I picking? I'm going with Westlake. The homestanding Chaparrals get the nod here, not only as the number 1 team in the state, but also just based on their offensive balance. I was very impressed with the way they ran the ball last week, as well as the throwing ability, obviously, of Cade Klubnik. Now that said, this is a big test for them, because this is one of the very few teams in the state that I think can outmuscle Westlake. Trinity is huge up front. They run the ball especially well, and their defense was flying around last week in their big season opening win. So I think this game is close, but I think that the homestanding Chaparrals get the win. Give me Westlake. Let's go west and let's think small. 7 p.m. Friday night at Nolan Stadium in New Deal. It's a fantastic small school matchup as the Wellington Skyrockets visit the New Deal Lions. What are the keys to this matchup? Key number 1, New Deal's offensive balance. This is a Lions team that we've been very excited about for a number of reasons. One of them is that they just bring back a ton of experience all around, but especially at the skill positions. Their running back, Larrick Eaton, is back. Their quarterback, Harley Patterson, is back. And they looked really good in their season opening when this is a New Deal attack that, when they're balanced, can be very, very dangerous. Can Wellington make New Deal one-dimensional, or will that New Deal offensive balance shine through? Key number 2, on the mark. Here's a trivia question for you. Who is the state's leading returning rusher at the UIL 11-man ranks? Give up? It's Mark Ramirez at Wellington, who ran for 2,542 yards last year and was an unstoppable force for the Skyrockets. And He did some damage last year in their win over New Deal. He ran for 136 yards, and he also, by the way, plays defense. He had 15 tackles in their 22-14 win over the Lions last year. He is the best player on Wellington, and I would say he's probably the best player on the field on Friday night at Nolan Stadium. So, just how big of an impact does Mark Ramirez have, or can New Deal slow him down? And key number 3, how much does week 1 matter? So, let's rewind to last week. New Deal opens their season against private school Lubbock Trinity Christian and comes away with an impressive win. Good job, Matt Hill's Lions. Doing great. See you in week 2. Wellington had a different experience. Wellington went on the road, across the border actually, to Duncan, Oklahoma, and played Duncan and lost. They lost a close game to them. Now look, I don't really know a ton about Duncan, Oklahoma. I don't know if they're this powerhouse in Oklahoma, but what I do know is that they beat Wellington, and I also know that they're huge. They have 947 students in their school, as opposed to 144 for Wellington. That's 6.5 times the size of Wellington. Think about this. This is like Wellington playing Paris here in the state of Texas. So I don't know how much I put stock in that, but is that a sign of things to come? Did Duncan expose some weaknesses for Wellington? We don't know, because week 1 is only 1 week of data. So let's go back to the original question. How much does week 1 matter? Who am I picking? I'm going with New Deal. The Lions get the nod here on the strength of their offensive balance with Larrick Eaton and Harley Patterson, their offensive line, and their defense, which looked really good last week against Lubbock Trinity Christian. Remember, they have 9 starters back from last year, and they were pretty decent, at least relatively speaking, at slowing down Wellington last year. Now, I don't put a ton of stock in what happened to Wellington last week. I think that is a different situation, long road trip, week 1, any number of reasons you could give for them. And I certainly think that Mark Ramirez is capable of taking over this game, and I think that the Wellington defense is up for the challenge of making New Deal one-dimensional. And this game's pretty much coin flip. I can't wait to see what happens at Nolan Stadium, but for now, I give New Deal the early edge. Let's talk some 6-man ball. 7:30 p.m. Friday night at Sterling City's Eagles Stadium is a rematch of the 1A Division I state championship game between Sterling City and May. It's a rematch of the state championship game in week 2. Can't wait for this one. Sterling City looked really good in their opener against Garden City, led by their outstanding do-it-all playmaker Damian Calderon. Meanwhile, May have been the most impressive 6-man team in the state last week, beating Borden County handily behind the strength of running back Caden Hawk. Now, Sterling City got the better of May last time, and I think that they're going to get the edge in this one, but make no mistake, this is must-see football. I give Sterling City the edge, but make sure if you're anywhere near Sterling City, you get to this game. Let's bounce back up to 6A, 7:30 p.m. Friday night at Allen's Eagles Stadium. It's the Allen Eagles welcoming in the humble Itascacita Eagles, and Allen's got a lot of streaks on the line here. They've won 84 straight regular season games. That's the most all-time in Texas high school football history, and by the way, they have never lost at Allen Eagles Stadium. Now, they got up to a little bit of a slow start last week, but found their footing against Plano East to give Chad Morris his first win as the head coach there at Allen. I thought running back Jalen Jenkins was fantastic in this game. Taking on a Tascosa team that A, is hungry to hand Allen their first loss, and B, is loaded, okay? Big-time offensive lineman Cam Dewberry is spectacular. Gavin Session, their quarterback, is a veteran. Wide receiver Keith Wheeler is must-see football. This is going to be a fantastic game and a huge threat to all of Allen's streaks. But look, I ain't picking against the streak. I ain't that dumb. Give me Allen. And let's go back out west, 7 p.m. Friday night at Grande Communications Stadium in Midland. It's the Midland Legacy Rebels welcoming in the Amarillo Tascosa Rebels. And Midland Legacy, guys, they look the part. My goodness, this team passes the eyeball test. Running back Michaelan Young is a man-child out there, absolutely running over people, and their defense looked very, very good last week against Amarillo, thanks in large part to their linebacker Wesley Smith. Now, how do they handle the flexbone attack of Amarillo Tascosa, led by Major Everhart and BT Daniel? It can be hard to get a handle on, and that's why I think we're in for a really fun game. Two teams that are going to run the ball at you. I think this game's a lot of fun. I give the very slight edge to Midland Legacy. But those are far from the only big games in week 2 of the Texas high school football season. Let's get to the lightning round. I'm going with Navasota over Sealy. Vanderbilt Industrial beats rival Hallettsville. Give me Lake Travis over Converse Judson. Huge game on the Coastal Bend. I like Corpus Christi Veterans Memorial just barely over Corpus Christi. Miller, give me Wink over Ozona, and I like Cisco to take down Wall. I'm going with El Paso Andrus over El Paso Parkland. Give me El Paso Eastlake over Canutillo, and Jim Ned stays unbeaten with a win over Sweetwater. Silsbee takes down Jasper. I like Divine over San Antonio Memorial, and a huge game in DFW. I'm going with Aledo just barely over Frisco Lone Star. Mascot Battle of the Week, I like Fredericksburg's Battle at Billy's over the Kerrville Tyvee Antlers. Give me Canadian to take down Iowa Park. Denton Ryan, Denton Geyer, Denton Ryan, Denton Geyer. I'm going to take Ryan. I'm going with Dumas over Lubbock Estacado. Andrews takes down Monahans in a huge 4A clash. I like Argyle over Pleasant Grove. Midland Greenwood over Brownwood. Newton over Dieball. And I'm going with Harmony over Hughes Springs. Huge game in the Valley. I like Edinburgh Vela over Harlingen. Huge game in San Antonio. I like San Antonio Reagan to bounce back with a win over Cibolo Steel. And Tyler Chapel Hill takes down Livingston. Lubbock Cooper over Lubbock Coronado. San Diego over Kingsville King. And I like Port Arthur Memorial over Barbers Hill. Snook takes down Thorndale. I like Wichita Falls Ryder over Frisco Independence. And I like Tomball Memorial over Beaumont Westbrook. Wimberley takes down Cuero. Spring Westfield takes down Fort Bend Hightower. And in a game you can watch on TexanLive.com, I like Fort Bend Ridgepoint over Dickinson. Old beats new as Cy Fair takes down Cy Park. Give me Tatum over Dangerfield in a fantastic matchup. And I'm going with McAllen Memorial over McAllen High. Smithson Valley over San Antonio Madison. I like Forsan to beat Post. Give me Waco La Vega in a close one over Waco Connolly. It's the Kraut Bowl. I like Munster over Lindsay. And give me Denison over Fort Worth Brewer. Holiday gets by Eastland, and Springtown beats Graham. And those are the picks. What am I wrong about? Which games did I leave out? Leave comments down below. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/Dave Campbell's. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Thanks for watching. Enjoy Week 2 of the Texas High School football season. We'll see you.